Hello everybody and welcome to the first of 3 videos in another Trilogy series. This time we're going to be getting all 77 achievements in the Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy, with each game in the trilogy giving us 1000 gamer score. In each of the videos we'll be covering one of the games, starting, of course, with Crash Bandicoot 1. The first game has a total of 25 achievements, spread across 27 levels, 6 boss fights, and 1 bonus level that was originally DLC. For the sake of time in this video, I won't be showing my whole gem run of every level, but I will be showing you my time trial runs of each level, the bonus levels, and where to get their related tokens, as well as some of the trickier out-of-the-way crates that might help you with getting gems. There are no missable achievements in this game, and as far as I experienced, no bugged achievements either, so without further ado, let's get into our playthrough. We start with our intro cutscene, which introduces us to our main villain for the series, Dr. Neo Cortex, as well as one of the other bosses in the game, Brio. We also see the creation of our main character, Crash Bandicoot, as he escapes from the lab and get our main objective to return and save our girlfriend, Torna. With that, we drop into our first level, Sanity Beach. The main bulk of Crash Bandicoot levels are linear 3D levels where we run away from the camera like this. Crash has a pretty basic moveset in this game. He can jump, getting a longer and slightly higher jump if you hold in the button. And he has a spin attack, and a jump attack that can be used against enemies, and the main destructible in the game, wooden crates. Every level has a good number of these in, and breaking them all gets us our main collectible, gems. There's a couple of twists on this formula in the game, but I'll mention those when I get to them. Most of the crates in our first level are along the critical path, with the only tricky bit being this split in the road. You want to go right first, hit this metal exclamation crate, which creates a bridge of crates. With some carefully placed jumps and bounces, we can get across the bridge whilst destroying all of the crates. There is another way to do this if we collect 3 masks, but this way works too. Once we get to the end of the split, don't forget to go down the left path backwards to get these 2 sneaky crates and then make your way to the end of the level, where, if you've broken everything, you can pick up your gem and leave. All of these gems are needed for 100% and for several achievements, so we'll have to get them all. We also pick up our first achievement, Spin Doctor, or spinning an enemy into another enemy twice in the same level. This achievement is more or less unmissable, as there are so many opportunities to do this, and even if you're not going for it, it's bound to happen at some point. The other collectible added to this game in the N Sane trilogy is relics for beating time trial runs of each level under certain times. There's 3 tiers of relics you can get and 3 achievements tied to all of them that we'll be picking up throughout the game. A sapphire relic for getting through in a pretty lenient time window, a gold relic which requires you to get through fairly quickly, only stopping if you need to, and a platinum relic which requires you to be more or less flawless in your execution and take whatever shortcuts you can. For 2 of our 3 achievements we need to get at least gold, so that's what we'll be aiming for in this video. Some of the crates also turn into 1, 2 or 3 second time crates that pause the timer for that amount of time, and it's advisable to get as many of these as possible. The gold relic in Insanity Beach needs us to get a time of at least 28.26 seconds, and the main deciding factor for doing this is using the crates to jump up the wall section of the level faster, as you've seen, and collecting all 3 Aku Aku masks for the speed boost granted by the invincibility mask. Jungle Rollers is our second level, and we'll be picking up a couple of achievements here. Feed Me for getting eaten by one of the piranha plant enemies. That's what those do for entering a bonus stage for the first time, and I meant to do that for spinning away an extra life. I wouldn't advise making a habit of doing this. The first achievement is pretty self-explanatory, although the vague description of the achievement might puzzle you as to what you need to do for it. The second achievement revolves around these tokens you get in most levels from mystery crates. It's worth noting that not every mystery crate will give you one of these tokens, by the way. The first one is just here before this plant. The second one is just past the checkpoint between these 2 rollers. And the third one is almost always beside the teleporter to the bonus area. In every level where they appear, I'll be showing you where to get them, as the bonus stages they unlock are a requirement for getting a level's gem. This is actually something that they changed in the N Sane Trilogy, maybe because you don't have to do a flawless run of every level for the gem. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in the original Crash 1, this literally was just a way to get extra lives, but now they are required, like I said. We also pick up our third achievement here for spinning away an extra life. These bonus areas are actually a good place to do this, as the extra life crates reappear here even if you collect it, as progress is only saved when you leave. Sadly, after all this, we can't even get the gem in this level, as we need a special coloured gem to access some high up crates, so for now it's under the time trial. The gold relic time for this level is pretty tight at 48.12 seconds, and the key to getting that time, like in the first level, is not to get hit and to collect all 3 Aku Aku masks so you can blast through the last quarter of the level in as little time as possible. As the invincibility mask also destroys any crates you touch, it's great for quickly breaking time crates too by running into them, and not possibly wasting time by spinning and getting caught. There's not much in the way of massive time-saving techniques in this level as far as I'm aware, just try to never stop running forward, even if it means doing some strange manoeuvring around obstacles. Next up is the Great Gate, one of the handful of 2.5D side-scrolling levels in the game. These levels, in my opinion, are always a little bit of a step up in difficulty, for whatever reason. I suppose Naughty Dog just took it easier in the 3D levels, as it was still a new thing for games in 1996. There's not much to note here for now in the main level, as, again, we can't get the gem yet because of needing a coloured gem, so I'll skip straight to the time trial. The time we need to get is 53.29 or lower, and I'd say this is the first pretty hard relic to get. There's a lot of small time-saving things you can do in this level, like the way you bounce on the crates at the start to get the Aku Aku and the 3 seconds of time stop. This level is the first level where the global timers really rear their ugly head too. What I mean by that is that a lot of the background hazards, like the fires and the spiked poles, are on a constant timer from you reaching a certain point of the level, as opposed to only activating when you're close, meaning a second lost early on in the level can really have you waiting around later in the level. It's also a good idea if you're going for every achievement, which I'm guessing you are if you're watching this video, or at least spiritually are. Anyway, it's a good idea to break the Wumpa crates before starting time trial runs in whatever level allows it, so we can get to the achievement for 99 lives without as much of a grind later on. After grabbing our third gold relic, it's time for one of the more well-known levels in the game, Boulders. The main gimmick of this level is that we'll be running towards the screen instead of away from it as we're chased down by a big boulder, Indiana Jones style. We can grab the gem in this level too, so make sure you break all the crates as you see them. Most of them are in the little safe zones, but there are a couple of cheeky ones on the boulder bits like these two in the second boulder section. Especially this one where you have to not follow the Wumpa fruit path. Part of me wants to say that the boulder breaking them still does count towards them being broken, but I don't think the game is that nice. If you break all 16, you can grab the gem on the left side of the end portal. The time trial for this level is one of the easier ones as well because of the short length of the stage. 49.44 is our target time, and as long as you break every time crate along the way, it's a very achievable time. I haven't got a whole lot to say honestly about this level, hence the sped up footage. The only real advice I have is to keep your diagonal movement to a minimum, as it slightly slows you down. This means you'll spend most of the level as close to the middle as you can. It's also worth pointing out that the game kind of auto-corrects your direction, if you see what I mean. It's much easier to feel when you're playing it. But basically, if you hold continuously forward, Crash kind of veers left and right as the level weaves around. It's also the reason why you might keep on getting hit by the boulder despite constantly moving or not hitting hazards along the way. Level 5 is called Upstream, and the theme this time is platforming up a river on top of fallen logs, stones and moving leaf platforms. Sadly, we're back to not being able to break every crate, so once again, we'll move straight onto the time trial and come back for the gem later. 49.95 seconds is our gold relic target time here, and as this is the 5th relic we'll be obtaining in our playthrough, we'll also unlock the achievement Catch Me If You Can. Any grade of relics across 5 different levels is enough for this achievement, but like I said before, as the other two require gold or better, that's still what we're aiming for. The name of the game for the Upstream time trial is Patience, as you'll be spending a lot of time waiting on moving platforms, or waiting for the fish to move out of your way, or waiting for the purple plants to stop snapping at you so you can walk on them, etc, etc. Just a whole lot of waiting. If you're aiming for the Platinum Relic, you can actually maneuver Crash around a couple of the fish that I waited for to shave off those extra seconds, but as we're not going for absolute perfection and we're going for just good enough, I guess I'll have to just live with our comfy gold time. It's a pretty fun time trial overall, this one. There's a really good flow to the level that I really enjoy. Our first boss, Papu Papu, is up next, and beating him gets us the achievement Papu Popped for 20 gamer score. There's really not much to say about this guy. He slams his stick down and spins anti-clockwise around the arena, and you hurt him by jumping on his head. I guess he's harder, quote-unquote, in this version than in the original game, as he takes 2 more hits, but he still goes down real easy. After beating him, we can also pick up another achievement, No Holds Barred, for defeating 5 enemies with Coco's Spin. Interacting with this spot on the map allows us to activate swapping main characters out between Crash and Coco. There's no real difference between them as far as I'm aware, but it's a cute touch for the N Sane Trilogy to add. For the achievement, we hop back into Jungle Rollers and spin all of the enemies that we see. Not too bad for 50 gamer score. Rolling Stones is our next level, which is like a harder version of Jungle Rollers. Same obstacles to avoid, but in more dangerous setups. I guess you could say this is where the real game starts, as what is asked from us from here really starts to ramp up. Don't worry about getting the gem first time through here either, as again we need a coloured gem to get some of the main path crates. For our time trial, we are asked to beat the level under 50.35 seconds, which isn't too tight, as the level has a lot of time crates we can break. A large part of keeping your time down in this level is to keep moving forward and to preemptively move to avoid upcoming obstacles, like the rollers, so you don't waste time by stopping. There's smaller ways to save time too, like using the TNT here to blow up the time crates whilst still moving forward. But your biggest time save, once more, is to not get hit at all and to get 3 Aku Aku masks to blast through the last half of the level. If you don't stop moving, you can make it all the way till the end portal for a nice time. It's now time for the first of the 2 gimmick levels in Crash 1, Hog Wild. This is an auto-runner level where we'll be juking, diving and jumping over obstacles on the back of this poor hog. The gem here isn't too bad, as all the crates are along the one path through the level, and I'm pretty sure I get them all in the time trial, so I'll move straight onto that. The 2 hog levels in Crash are both pretty easy time trials to ace, as the only thing you can do to lower your time is breaking crates, making it pretty much the same as the gem challenges in the original game. All crates in one run. The gold relic time for this level is 47.53, but we actually managed to pick up a platinum relic here for getting under 43.42, which, if you remember from my explanation, is a pretty much perfect run through of the level. All that said, you can miss about 4 seconds worth of time crates and still be fine. Sadly, our next level isn't quite that kind to us. Native Fortress is the last level on the first island, and it lives up to being a climactic challenge for its placement in the game. On the surface, it's a harder version of the Great Gate, same obstacles, same appearance, but some of the platforming required here is brutal. And even more brutal is the length. It's about 3 times longer than everything we've seen so far. For now, we can't get the gem as we need the red gem to get all the crates. So, let's talk about the time trial. Our gold time we need to beat is 2 minutes, 25 seconds, 0.87. And this level is one of the ones that really shows the problems with the time trials from Crash 3 being added into the 2 original games. This level in the original game isn't supposed to be easy, obviously, but it is entirely built around having to take your time to dodge weirdly timed obstacles. So, having to blast through it all as quick as possible is a hell of an ask. There are still a lot of moments where you have to pause to let fires do their thing or the spiky bars come down, but remembering where all those moments are across a level this long is really tough. Some small time-saving things I'd recommend are to try not to take a hit until this section with the stack of time crates and the TNT block, using your extra hit to spin the TNT and just running straight through, saving a couple seconds on that section. It's also a good idea to use the secret path behind the posts when you're going through the left heading section. Luckily, the actual time requirement for this level isn't massively tight, and the main challenge is just making it through without dying, and making as few stops as possible. I think actually the one time I got through the level, which is the one you're seeing in the video now, is my first time getting to the end. And don't get me wrong, it took a long time to learn the first half to 2/3 of the level to get good enough to get here. I got almost to the end quite a few times, but overall, as long as you get to the end and you aren't just wasting loads of time, you probably will be fine. I even made a mistake at the end of this stack of crates, thinking that they had a time stop at the top, and I didn't get overly penalised for it, so take that as a small grace, we'll say. Now, after that little battle of precision, how about sidetracking ourselves for an achievement about the complete opposite? The crate that broke the Bandicoot's back is a 20 gamer score achievement awarding for making it through a whole level whilst missing at least 30 crates. There's plenty of levels that you can do this in, but I decided to go all the way back to Sanity Beach to do it because after what I'd just accomplished in Native Fortress, I don't think I could mentally handle anything else. Just follow what I'm doing on screen and make sure you bounce on, or avoid, as many enemies as possible, as spinning them runs the risk of you flinging them into a pile of crates. As there are almost 50 crates in this level, you do get a good bit of leeway too. After reaching the end portal and getting battered by a couple dozen crates, we get our achievement. Back on track, Up the Creek is our next level, and it's a harder version of Upstream. We can actually pick up the gem here too, believe it or not, so we'll be breaking every crate that we see. Our first thing to note is our first Torna token, which is just after the first purple plant in this crate. We also make sure to hit this metal exclamation crate and backtrack to the log to bop this TNT, and then quickly bounce back up before it destroys the bounce crate. Just past the metal crate is our second Torna token. And as always, token number 3 is right by the portal. There's a whopping 30 crates in here, and the challenge is to bounce across the whole bridge whilst breaking them all. When you get to this little clump at the end, remember that the multi-wumper crates break on the 5th bounce. After that, we only have one crate left to break between that and picking up our gem at the end. Neat! The time trial here isn't actually too bad either. Our time to beat for the gold relic is 1 minute 20 seconds, 0.25. Similar to the first river level, a lot of the first third of the time trial here is spent waiting on slowly moving platforms, so there's not really much time to save. Just remember to jump as soon as you can. After that, it's a case of timing our jumps up the logs so we can keep as much of our forward momentum as we can, as the moss on them will not necessarily make us slide back, but makes us go up them way slower. And of course, breaking all the time crates that we see. Luckily, as long as we keep moving, a lot of the obstacles are timed in such a way that you don't have to wait too long, or you can jump around them, like the fish here, for example. After barely not slipping off the platform, we have our next gold relic with just under 2 seconds to spare. Boss number 2, Ripperoo, is after this, and beating him will get us the achievement Ripper Ruined and 20 gamer score. Now, I have a small confession to make to all of you watching this video today. I, despite the fact that I'm a grown-ass adult, am absolutely terrible at the boss fights in these games. I just can't describe it. I don't really want to talk about it either, but it is what it is. Ripperoo only takes damage from being near these big TNTs when they explode, so we need to time jumping on them when one is beside a platform that he is 3 jumps away from. It's that simple. He only has 3 jumping patterns that he switches between when you damage him, and yet, I think this took me around a dozen attempts. Again, I can't explain why I'm so bad at this, and I don't want to. Hey, look, that's the achievement. Let's swiftly move on, shall we? Level 10, the Lost City, is next, and this level will definitely stump new players for a while. The collectible here is our first coloured gem, and the difference in the challenge is that you need to break every crate without losing a life. It's worth pointing out, since you don't lose a life from dying in a bonus stage, technically, that won't fail your Deathless run. Luckily, apart from one, the coloured gems aren't in the hardest stages in the game, but this stage here also isn't the easiest one to get through. The first tricky jump is right at the start, where you have to weave around this wall of metal crates to get these 2 crates. Don't forget the crates in these 2 inlets, as well as the first Toner token. Right after here, don't forget to jump on top of this multi-wumper crate to hit a hidden metal exclamation block here. This makes this crate appear, which lets us get our first Brio token, which just unlocks a harder bonus zone that we also have to beat for the gem. Toner token 2 is just past the rotating platforms and push blocks in this inlet. Your second Brio token is a little further ahead, past the checkpoint, where we have to jump on top of this enemy once he lands. If you miss him, it's a complete level restart. On the vertical section, don't forget this exclamation block, which is a little in front of the wall off the left side of this platform. On top of this section is 6 pretty well hidden crates which contain our last Brio token, and going back out will take us to the bonus zone here. These Brio bonus zones are a step up in difficulty compared to the regular ones, but the rewards are much better. After going right for a bit, past some tricky bat sections, we grab Toner token 3 and take on the second bonus zone of the level. This is actually surprisingly hard if you try to do it properly by bouncing on all of the multi-wumpers to get their rewards instead of just spinning through the top ones. Remember, if you are bouncing, they break after 5 consecutive bounces. After this, we're almost done. Just one more tricky segment bouncing off the leaping lizard to hit this metal exclamation crate, which appears and breaks those crates at the back, which gets us our first coloured gem. Woohoo! The time trial, unsurprisingly, isn't much easier, as similar to Native Fortress, this is a long level with some tricky enemy and obstacle placements. The time we need to beat for gold is 1:56.12, and as this is the 10th gold or better relic we'll be getting in our playthrough, we'll also earn Could Go All The Way and 35 gamer score. In my script for this level I actually just have commentary over level instead of any actual words, so I guess you're stuck with post-production Dan, I guess we're calling them still. This level has a lot of neat little tricks in it that save tiny bits of time, such as spinning into the last couple of bats so you can jump out of holes a bit bigger, or vice versa as you've just seen there. Spinning into the first few if you know you're going to drop into a hole. Lots of little time-saving tricks that you'll learn as you're sort of going through the level, or at least I did when I was going through this one. The run that you're seeing here is probably after about an hour and 20 minutes maybe of attempts, and well, I was about to say it. As you can see, I'm actually pretty good at the level, but I did just slide off that platform there. But as you can see, you don't have to be even close to perfect to get the gold in this level, and the time that I actually end up with is pretty decent. as kind of as the situation with a lot of the time trials, as long as you don't really stop and hit every single time crate that you can along the way, you probably stand a pretty good chance of getting a half decent time. These things are actually not as terrible a time as you might imagine. The timing seems to be pretty consistent for this game actually for when you get here. I don't know if I just got extremely lucky or not. Also, I do recommend getting that 3-second time crate because that is a big saving for what, although it looks like a scary jump, especially after, you know, 2 minutes of pretty perfect platforming, it actually isn't that bad. But we are pretty much at the end of the level, as you might remember from the gem run, if you watched that and didn't just skip straight ahead to this. At this point, if you are at a pretty decent time, I would just recommend being as safe as possible so you don't do anything stupid. And yeah, the time we end with is 1:55.81. And there's our achievement that I'm talking over. I do apologise, the sound is really nice, isn't it? This was post-production Dan doing some wonderful commentary. After all that, Temple Ruins is a breeze of a level. We'll be grabbing our clear gem here straight away for breaking 67 crates as no coloured gems are needed. This is a level that has really been improved in the remaster visually compared to the original, as the lighting here is very atmospheric. It's a nice touch. A lot of the crates are along the critical path as always, so I'll just cover the more out of the way ones. You should have 14 crates broken by the first checkpoint, and 41 crates broken by the second checkpoint. Nothing really out of the way at this point. Just after this, however, you'll get to this platform with these Wumpa fruit floating over seemingly nothing. If you follow the fruit just by walking along, a bridge will appear under you to a secret platform full of crates. Break them and the ones you can on the bridge before coming back. By the next checkpoint you should be at 60 crates, leaving 7 for the last quarter of the stage. All of these are along the critical path, so getting the gem from here should be easy going. The time trial for this level is also pretty generous, asking you to beat 1:32.61. I managed a Gold Relic run on my third attempt and it's fairly sloppy as you can see. I'm speeding up the footage because honestly I don't think you should use this as a model run for doing this level. There are a lot of times where I could have done sections faster than I did, or places where I could have taken a hit to save a chunk of time if I hadn't taken a silly hit earlier on in the run, which overall would have saved time. The biggest piece of time saving advice that I have is using the enemies to break the time crates whenever you can, as you've seen at the start of the level. Other than that, this level is actually pretty smooth sailing. You know what time it is? It's hot take of the day time. Road to Nowhere is actually quite a fun level. I know, shocking. Well, in the original game anyways, less so in the remaster. This stage and its harder counterpart at the end of the game are infamous in terms of the precision that they require out of the player, but once you get into a good flow state in these levels, it feels amazing. The red gem is needed for all the crates for now, so let's just go straight to the time trial. The time to beat here is 1 minute 3 seconds 0.26, which, although it's a short time, don't let that fool you into thinking that this stage is easy. It really is not. There is a staggering amount of learning what jump to do where, so you can try to make it through the stage whilst keeping your forward momentum for as long as possible. What I mean by that is, depending on the length in which you press the jump button for, Crash either does just a little hop, or he will do this weird flip thing which keeps him in the air longer. And depending on which jump you do, if you're running straight forward anyway, the distance that he covers is completely different. The time here is really tight as well, even for the Gold Relic, so my first successful run landed me about 3 seconds off the time I needed. There are some good time-saving tips and tricks that I learnt whilst I was doing the harder version of the level later in the game, so I probably could have a solid attempt at a Platinum Relic run now, but since we don't need that for the achievement, there's no point in going for it in this video. The biggest one of these tricks is a quicker way to flip and bounce on the turtle that you'll see at the end of this level. That could have shaved around half a second off, as well as being more confident with the ice platforms at the end of the level. Anyway, we eventually made it through, which gives us our 12th gold relic. Wonderful. Boulder Dash is up next, and I'll leave it to your imagination what the main gimmick here is going to be. There's a coloured gem path at the very end of this level, so our clear gem won't be obtainable for now, sadly. So we'll go straight to the time trial. This level is around twice the length of Boulders, and it really shows in how many more attempts this level took me compared to that one. The gold relic time we need to beat is 1:24.61, which, compared to the 49 seconds of that first level, tells you everything you need to know. As always, it's very important not to miss any of the time crates along the way, and to keep your running momentum going, especially when you're going through the safe zones. It's worth noting that the boulder can destroy whatever time crates it crushes, and that's especially useful for the two that are sitting on top of the TNT. It's sticking out just enough that the boulder will set it off as you run past, so don't bother hitting those. After this, just try keep going forward as much as possible, as you do go slightly slower on diagonals. It's difficult to explain in words without playing the level yourself, but even when you are holding straight forward on the analog stick or the D-pad, Crash kind of sways left and right a little bit to follow the curvature of the level. When you do go diagonal, as much as this might sound dumb, you aren't going forward as much, so your speed kind of slows down. This is actually a decent little tip for a lot of the time trials for shaving off like fractions of seconds, but so many of them aren't as straight as these ones that it doesn't make a massive difference. But in this level, I was so efficient going through it that my final time was just about half a second over into the platinum relic time. So this is one of the few platinum relics that we got. Woohoo! Time for the hardest level in the game. That's it. That's my intro to Sunset Vista. While we're here, we'll be picking up the gem and the achievement Cortex's Crazed Contest for obtaining the key. More on that later. First, let's go through the noteworthy crates for the gem. Let me start with saying the first section, when you're heading to the right, has a lot of hidden crates in these little inlets, so make sure you spin all around in them to make sure you have them all. Some of them are hidden off screen. The next thing to note is Torna Token 1 in a crate on the vertical section here. After you get up top and start heading left, there's a sneaky checkpoint crate in this inlet. Once you scale the next vertical section, there's a metal exclamation crate you need to jump off this lizard to hit, which gets us our first Cortex token. Ooh! We need to get all three to get to the bonus zone where we'll get the key. You should have around 30 crates at this point. Continuing right, you'll get to a push block section. Jump up the two lone crates here, on top of these push blocks, to get the well-hidden Cortex Token 2. Just past here, Torna Token 2 is in crate number 36, to the right of the checkpoint. Continue right to these spinning platforms and jump back into this inlet to find Cortex Token 3 in a hidden crate, and then come back out for the bonus zone portal. These bonuses, like the Brio bonuses, are harder than the Torna ones, and this one needs us to quickly bust open crates at the end of TNT bridges and then jump off in time. Getting to the end grants us the key to Sunset Vista. If you're stressing that the achievement hasn't popped, don't worry, it will when you get to the end of the level. Just past here, before the next vertical section, is Torna Token 3 in this lone crate, and past these 4 moving ledges is the bonus. This one is an easier version of the Cortex bonus zone that we just did. Just make sure to bounce on all of the wooden crates before setting off the TNT. You should have 81 crates when you leave the bonus zone. After this, it's plain sailing to the end. 1 checkpoint crate and a clump of 8 crates right at the end. Not too bad, right? Correct. So why is this the hardest level in the game? The time trial. Minus the DLC level, this is the longest level in the game, with a gold relic time of a whopping 4 minutes and 10 seconds .04. Now, I will say this isn't the tightest time in the game, and you are allowed a lot of errors and imperfect timing, as you'll see, but getting through around 3.5 minutes of the level fairly quickly, with not the best controls in the world, with a global timer making a lot of things inconsistent is, and I'm using this word a lot, I understand, brutal. As with Native Fortress, a slight time loss can be the difference between a platform being there, ready for you to jump on it, and not, losing several seconds. Conversely, being too quick sometimes can get you into a timing that you are completely unfamiliar with, causing you to mess up. It's just cruel, really. Now, as far as ways to save time, something you may have noticed in Native Fortress is that the fires kinda lie to you. They aren't deadly the whole time that you see them, so you can save a lot of time in this level by jumping onto them early. There's also a lot of time that can be saved by not waiting for the push platforms and jumping around them once they push you off. Obviously you can't do this with all of them, as some of them will push 3 platforms out at once and you just can't get around them. But for some of the platforms that just maybe 1 or 2 come out, or one will be followed very quickly by another, you can kind of skirt around jumping over the end of the level. As I said in the Lost City time trial, you can also save fractions of seconds by spinning either the first few or the last few bats in the trail to platform around them early, either by jumping into a pit or by just getting past them. It's the type of thing that you'll feel out more as you go through the level, but if you want to try and memorize the timing that I use, feel free. The remaining time that you can save is by jumping as early as possible onto the timed obstacles, as a lot of them are timed to start when you get close. Personally, I think the best way to play these enormous levels is to try and save as much time as you can earlier on into the level. Maybe in the first half, go for more risky jumps, go for any slight ways you can shave time off to rush through. Then, when you're comfortably ahead of a target time, I suppose, it means you can take your time more in the latter half. Play safer, wait for obstacles to cycle if you need a breather, or if you just don't think you're going to make it in time. It'll result in a lot less really annoying deaths at the end of the level. I know this is easier said than done, because after 2 minutes your brain is probably absolutely fried and you're just in full panic mode to try and get through, but you know, try your best. The final bit of advice I can offer is that some of the lizards have weird interactions. This might just be a specific thing to the Xbox version or the remastered version, I don't know, but I certainly don't remember this happening in the original game. Namely, the very last red lizard at the end of the level, literally at the end of the level. For whatever reason, when I spun into him as he jumped, his hitbox for pushing was still active, so when I landed on the ground, he pushed me back, which is a very, very annoying way to lose a run. So if you can, jump on as many as possible. If you can pull all that off, another relic is yours. I was a very comfy 40 seconds under on this, which was enough to get the platinum relic. So, like I said earlier, the hardest thing in this level literally is just getting to the end. The time is nice and generous. I'm not even joking, this is the first and only time I have on this level, and it's a platinum relic. By a country mile. It still took me about 2 hours to do though, so I can't act like that much of a big man, can I suppose. Speaking of which, because this time trial took me about 2 hours, I managed to hit 99 lives and get the achievement On Cloud 99, which grabbed us another 50 gamer score. I've mentioned it before, but making it a point to grab whatever Wumpa fruit you can before your time trial attempts does add up, as you can see, and makes it so you don't have to go out of your way to grind for lives later on. Anyway, with that nightmare over, let's take a break. Ha ha ha! Just kidding! Next up is Whole Hog. This is the level we unlock with the key from Sunset Vista, and it's a harder version of Hog Wild, but well, honestly, it's actually not that bad. I'm slightly exaggerating. There's another 24 crates to bust open through this level, just like Hog Wild, and they're actually a lot closer together as the level itself is much shorter. However, you don't get much of a break throughout, as you're more or less constantly dodging or jumping obstacles. The gold relic time to beat is 30 seconds, 0.44, and again, hitting every time crate along the way is the only thing you can really do to lower your time. Because we end up hitting every single one along the way, we get the platinum relic and a time of 25.72, which means this time around you can miss up to 5 seconds worth of crates. very generous for such a short level, to be honest. I can't offer any specific advice if you're really struggling with this, other than, I guess, going through the video going, go right here, go left here, jump now. So if you really need specific advice, I guess just try and memorize this video as much as possible. Yeah, you know, get me that watch time up. Lovely, yeah. Back onto the main path, we come up against Koala Kong, whose defeat nets us the achievement Koala Konked. This, again, is another boss that I'm just not that good at, and I really don't know why. He throws 3 small rocks at you that you can either avoid by jumping out of the way, or straight over them if your timing is right. And then after this he throws a big rock that you can spin back at him. Make sure that the minecarts aren't in the way when you do this though. As he takes more hits, TNT crates appear to make your dodging a bit more tight. So just like Ripperoo, he's not really that hard. But maybe because you need an amount of patience that I don't possess, I always end up mistiming my dodges. Anyway, once you land your 4th hit, he keels over, grabbing us a neat 35 gamer score, and finishing the 2nd island. 1 more to go. Our first level in Island 3 is Heavy Machinery, a side-scrolling level where we have to deal with hot pipes, steam vents, and robotic enemies. We can get the clear gem here, so I'll take you through notable things in the level, starting with our first Torna token pretty close to the start in this mystery crate. Straight after this there is a pit we can jump down between 2 spiky saucers for a Brio token and some other goodies. Chances are if you're missing a couple crates in this level, this is where they are. Brio token number 2 is next, just further along from where we jumped down the pit. Our first checkpoint should be box number 16. Continuing left should be Torna token 2, and then Torna 3 is further along by the bonus portal. Now this bonus isn't too tricky compared to what we have been doing, just count your jumps on the multi-wumper crates, and finishing this should take us up to 39 total. Don't forget to bounce on this top thing to break some off-screen crates as well. Further right, past some moving platforms, is Brio token 3 and our second bonus. Now this one is actually pretty tricky and really tests your abilities to space your jumps properly over different sized gaps. The goal here is to break every crate between exclamation mark boxes to get all the way till the end. After you break all 30, you should have a nice surplus of lives as well as 82 total crates broken. After this, the remaining 4 are hard to miss, and at the top of this big bouncing tower we'll grab our 9th gem. The time trial here I've found quite tricky actually, as keeping your momentum going through the precise jumps and weirdly timed obstacles is actually quite hard. The time to beat is 1 minute 57 seconds .82, but a good chunk of that is spent on platforms between zones. My best piece of advice is to jump on as many enemies to clear gaps in hot pipes as you can, and to try and cut corners during the transitional parts of the level. For example, when you're on the moving platforms, you can jump off slightly early to shave, and I'm talking fractions of seconds, but those fractions of seconds do add up. There is a couple of time saves I could have made to lower my overall time, like dropping off the moving platforms sooner than I did, but luckily for us the time we have to beat is super generous for this being a pretty short stage. At least compared to what we have been doing anyway, no 3 to 4 minute slog this time. We actually end up shaving almost 7 seconds off the target time with a respectable 1:51. But if I didn't mess up some of my movement at the end, it could have easily been in the 140s. I don't know if that's enough to get the platinum, because I think the timing for that is actually pretty tight, understandably, but hey ho. Not to matter, it's good enough for our achievement, so it's good enough for me. A running theme throughout all of my Crash videos is that what you're going to be seeing is not close to perfection, but it's good enough, so I'm going to teach you how to be good enough, which realistically is all you need. The next level, Cortex Power, is probably one of the more uniquely designed levels in the game, and the whole series to be honest, for better or for worse. And the nightmarish gem in this stage has more than likely stumped many a first time player, myself included. The level's main gimmick is that there are a couple of split paths along it, where you can go one of two directions for either progress or some hidden crates. Although we can't pick up the clear gem here, as we need the blue gem, we will be picking up the achievement I See London, I See France for dying to this electric bolt as Crash. This level, if you know where you're going, is actually super short, and our time to beat for our gold relic is 43.98 seconds. If you immediately grab the clock and run in, the enemies and obstacles should be timed well enough for you to charge through. Hang a right at the first split, following the crates, and keep on going over the goo. Luckily, the time requirement here is pretty slack, so even taking a hit here or there shouldn't ruin your run completely. Take a left at the next split, taking the Aku mask for good measure, and keep on running. If you don't stop between now and the end of the level, all of the obstacles and enemies should be timed for you to blast straight past them. Don't forget about this 3-second time crate on top of the bounce crate, that is absolutely worth picking up as well. And if you got the last time crate on the half completed bridge, it should keep time stopped just until you hit the end. A depressing half second off the platinum time is what we end up with, which we absolutely could have got if I'd tried a bit harder or give it a couple more attempts. But, as always, it's good enough. Next up is another unique stage, Generator Room, a scary looking pure platforming stage. There's no real gimmicks here that we shouldn't be entirely unfamiliar with, but we are going to have to make it through the stage without dying and getting all the boxes for the orange gem. A lot of them are along the critical path, but let's go through some special ones, starting with this question mark block that can make this crate bridge appear in the background, as you can see. Our first toner token is just past here. At the first checkpoint we should be at 21 crates, and toner token number 2 is just past here. Platforming a little further past here gets us our last token and our bonus portal. This stage is actually really easy compared to the last couple that we've done, and getting these boxes takes us up to 31. After avoiding some saucers and jumping left, we can jump on top of some crates here for a hidden life. I don't think the life is in a crate, so it's not absolutely necessary to get, but it'll not come in wrong. Our next and final checkpoint should get us to 37 crates, and the final crates of the level are all along the critical path. After breaking the final 3 extra life crates without dying, we pick up the orange-ish gem, and that's 2 out of 6. The time trial for this level is actually surprisingly tight compared to the last couple that we've done, and it took me a couple of attempts to get it in the end. Our goal is 1 minute and 8 seconds .37, and to get this we're going to be cutting every corner we can and breaking every time crate we see. There's not much in the way of amazing time saving advice I can give you, just try your best not to stop at all, and if you cut enough corners by jumping around enemies and jumping off the slow moving platforms as soon as you can, you should be able to eke out a victory. The one big bit of time saving advice I do have is actually for the section after the wall of 9 crates, where the last checkpoint used to be. Just past here, there is a 1 second, yes, 1 second time crate in between 2 TNT crates. Now if you haven't used up all of your hits by the time you get here, and hopefully you haven't because taking hits obviously slows you down, which you have no time for, I would recommend jumping off the moving platform early to get there and just spin through the TNT. Just keep moving straight onto the next platform after this. It definitely saved me enough time just to get the relic in my successful run. Also, just to expose myself slightly, don't miss that 1 second time crate right at the end. Usually it's enough to keep time stopped until you jump on the platform, but there was a couple of attempts where I just missed it and lost by a couple of milliseconds, or didn't even make it that far to be honest, just jumped straight in the pit because I jumped too early. I wouldn't recommend either of these things to be honest, both for getting the gold relic and for your sanity and mental health. Very embarrassing, very embarrassing. With another relic in our pocket, we move on to another cool level with another coloured gem, Toxic Waste. This level probably has the easiest coloured gem deathless run in the game, as it's a nice short stage with very predictable obstacles and no hidden boxes at all along the critical path here. Still, I'll give you a brief rundown of it. Our first Torna token is at these 2 stacks of 3 crates. After checkpoint 1 we should have 12 crates broken. Torna 2 is a little after the checkpoint in these crates to the left. Soon we need to dodge these scary bouncing barrels, but don't worry, they always bounce in the same places, making them pretty easy to dodge if you take your time. At checkpoint 2 you should have 20 crates. Torna 3 is just a little past here next to the bonus portal as usual. Now the trick to this one is just to go as quickly as possible, as the TNT bridge will explode if you take time to destroy every crate. A lot of the crates don't even have decent rewards in, it's just like single wumpers, so really just run through. After this we have some bouncing crates to dodge, and then one more enemy to take care of. Nice and easy. The gold relic here is also pretty easy for this stage, with a time to beat of 1 minute and 3 seconds, 0.47. The first thing to note is that the bounce crate on the right at the start will turn into a 1 second crate immediately, so try to grab that. Overall this stage is pretty lenient with the time, as long as you play confidently with dodging barrels by either running through or jumping around them. I even think I missed a couple of time crates which could have got me real close to getting a platinum relic if I'd popped them, but it's not necessary to grab them unless you're playing cautiously. I'd probably recommend against that, and just to try and feel out the timings for dodging the barrels by just slamming your face against the level until you win, as it's quite short and quite fun. In a similar way to the flow state I was talking about in Road to Nowhere, I got that same feeling here of just not really stopping and feeling like I was really in charge of the level. There's no waiting for slow moving platforms and obstacles this time, which really are it's the bane of my existence in Crash 1. Especially for these time trials now being put in, it just feels not great. Anyway, we finished with a decent time, just under a minute, that comfortably gets us our gold relic. Very nice. We have one more level in the Cortex Power Plant levels, and it's a boss fight. It's Pinstripe Potoroo. I think that's how you pronounce that. And beating him will get us the achievement Pinstripe Potoroo. Now, stop me if you've heard this one before. This is a boss fight about learning patterns to know when it's safe to attack. I know, absolutely unheard of for Crash 1. Pinstripe's whole deal is that he will shoot you from 3 different parts of the room and cycle through sides after that on different patterns. It's either the left side of the room, the right side of the room, or on top of the table. You can hide behind the chairs to dodge his gunshots, and then when he's reloading you can spin into him and then go back to hiding. He does mix things up after his 3rd hit and will jump between the sides of the room and the table in the middle, and your chance to hit him is a window when the gun will jam. It's a pretty easy fight to learn once you figure out when you can attack him, to be honest. After another 3 hits, he'll wreck his room and keel over, getting us our next achievement and 35 gamer score. We're on to the final stretch of levels now, and these are where Crash 1 gets a lot of its infamous difficulty from, starting with one of the most infamous levels, the High Road. We can get the gem here, so let's go through some of the easy to miss crates, starting right here at the beginning with an invisible bridge we can jump across for 4 crates. This level is a harder version of Road to Nowhere, with a bigger emphasis on precision platforming and turtle hopping, 2 things the remastered version of this game really excels in, ha ha ha. The best advice I can give during your gem run is wait till the turtles are as far forward as possible before you flip them, as it will give you the biggest leeway for the lack of airtime Crash now has compared to the original. Anyway, continuing on, we break a couple more boxes and get our first Torna token right next to the checkpoint, bringing us to 7 crates broken. Torna token 2 is right by our next checkpoint, bringing us to 11 crates broken. 13 total crates at the next checkpoint. There's mercifully lots of those if you fall off the bridge as much as I do in this level. Or maybe the sympathy that the game has kicked in and I'm getting way more checkpoints than originally is in the level. Who knows, but it certainly is helping. Don't forget about the cheeky 1-up crate on top of this stack next to the next checkpoint. After a load of turtle hopping, we get Totona Token 3 and head into the bonus. This one I could never figure out properly as a kid. I guess I was just dumb. But after the TNT at the beginning, there's 2 crate bridges. You want to rush across the top one right to the end like this, and only stop breaking all of them on your way back. Once you get all the way back to the left, drop down to the lower crate bridge and make your way to the end. Simple as that. The crates here should take us all the way to 45 if you've not missed anything, and after a seemingly never-ending turtle hopping segment, we grab our gem. Woohoo! Now, if you thought that was bad, it's time for the time trial! This is probably the time trial that took me the longest to beat. I think my total recording time for it was just over 2 hours total. Obviously apart from the DLC, that one is a different beast entirely. Our time to beat is 1 minute 13 seconds .29, which I think is crazy tight for how hard this level is to do fast. You want to stop as little as possible, not only making sure the timing on the turtles and charging goats is good for you, but also because you just won't get the relic if you take too long. You also need to master the art of the quick turtle flip and hop. I'm trademarking that, by the way, nobody steal it. Basically, when you jump on a turtle to flip it, take your finger off the jump button and then repress it before you do the big bounce on it. It really doesn't seem like much, but it'll shave a good couple of seconds off your run in total, which means you'll get more time for correcting jumps or getting better timings later on. It's also key to learn which turtles you actually don't need to bounce on at all. You might have seen that in the section earlier. I spun away a couple of the turtles and cleared gaps by holding on as long as possible before jumping off the bridge boards. Again, this is super tricky to learn and to pull off, especially under the stress of doing this whole level in one go, but it saves the time you need for the gold relic. Some of the jumps are absolutely insane as well, like I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to be able to clear some of these gaps, but I guess it's possible. This run is far from perfect as my end time is about 5 seconds off the platinum relic time, but it's a good jumping off point for your own gold relic run. A final key thing to note is knowing which one of the pre-flipped turtles you need to do a full holding in the button jump on, and which ones you don't have to press the button for. Again, it seems minor, but the big jump can end up wasting more time than it saves by keeping you in the air for longer and slowing you down by stopping you moving forward. Following this up is yet another infamous level, Slippery Climb. This level has arguably the hardest coloured gem run in the game, and you all know what that means. All crates, no deaths. As this will be our 13th gem, we'll also be grabbing the achievement More Gems Are Better Than None for getting half the gems in the game. Most of the crates in this level are tucked in these little gated windows and require some pretty tricky jumps to get in, and more so out of, like these 2 crates here. Just remember to take your time and to scope out when it's safest to go. After a couple of bird hops, we get our first Brio token here, taking us up to 12 crates broken. We next get introduced to these disappearing stairs where the trick is to count how long it is between their changes and time your jump so that you're in the air for them appearing to give you the most time possible before they go away, making you slide to your doom. A little further on past here are some more crates, and we hit our first checkpoint, bringing us to 21 crates, about halfway there. After some wacky platforms centered around moving wheels, we get to Brio token number 2. And after 2 more bird hops, a little further right, we get Brio token 3 and the bonus level. This bonus level is real finicky and is all about timing TMT jumps and bouncing boxes. You want to weave around this TNT crate, jump over all these boxes, and then weave around and back onto this TNT to clear this gap and beat the level. It's just about possible to clear the gap by bouncing on the metal box, but it's difficult to get the momentum a lot of times, so this is the most consistent way I found to do it. After this, we should be up to 45 crates broken. Just a little more left, including these cruel crates timed around this platform, and then 4 more next to a bottle thrower at the end. Clear him out, get the crates, get the red gem, and we get a well-earned 50 gamer score. now it's time trial time. Why would I script that like that? That's so difficult to say. The time to beat for the gold relic is 3 minutes on the dot, 0.47. And I thought this was going to be a nightmare, but honestly, not the worst. But maybe I just got lucky. As a lot of crates in the level are tucked in those little window things, it's really important to grab as many of those as possible, because a whole lot of this level is spent on moving platforms, or just waiting for moving platforms, or waiting for moving platforms on moving platforms. It's just not all that interesting, honestly. And sadly, it is quite punishing if you get impatient and either mistime a jump or rush through when the timing isn't right, which I did do a couple of times. I hope you don't mind in the video, but I have sped it up quite a lot, since I don't really have much in the way of good advice that I haven't already said in the gem run portion of this level, and honestly, it's just not all that exciting to watch. At least I felt like the time limit is quite generous if you go out of your way for crates, and I actually ended up getting really quite close to the platinum time for my successful run of the level, missing out by only about 5 seconds? Looking back at the footage, I think I could have shaved off fractions of seconds in a lot of my jumps in the level, as I did big bounces on a lot of the birds where it probably wasn't all that necessary. Like I mentioned in the high road level with the turtles, that can add up a lot of time at the end if you just keep doing it over and over. I also could have jumped slightly earlier onto some platforms, but as I keep saying, gold is good enough for the achievement, so it's good enough for me. The next level, Lights Out, is probably, controversially, one of my favourites in the game. It's all based around picking up Aku Aku masks that provide around 15 seconds of light in an otherwise pitch black level, turning it into a semi-speedrun type of level. Unlike, well, every other level in the game, however, the obstacles in this level are actually conducive to speedrunning, and it's very satisfying to time jumps through. Despite a coloured gem being available here, we actually need a different coloured gem to get it, so we'll skip straight to the time trial. Our time to beat is 1 minute 20 seconds 0.67, which, considering how short and linear the level is surprisingly generous. To get the time you need, you pretty much need to never stop. Just trust your jumps and keep going. Contrary to my advice in, like, every other level, your Aku masks are not your friend here, and you don't want to take any hits for speed boosting through obstacles, as unless you're intimately familiar with the level, being left in the dark is a death sentence. Now, I know there are ways to speed through the moving platform sections by jumping on the weird ledges on the side, and then sort of doing these little hook jumps to get around the pillars, but that's something you only have to do for getting the platinum relic, as I didn't bother and I ended up getting about 5 seconds under the gold time. The only thing I could have been much better at is learning what side the swinging saws came from and jumping around them instead of waiting for them, which might have saved me enough time to get under 110. Again, I'm not overly bothered, as we got the gold relic on our first attempt of this stage. Go me! Round of applause! Oh, thank you. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Jaws of Darkness is next, which is where we'll be getting our second key, as well as the achievement Cortex's Terrifying Trial. We'll also be grabbing the achievement A Hidden Gem, as we will be going down our first coloured gem path to get all of the crates in this level. Speaking of crates, this level has got a whopping 112 crates, and a good chunk of them are hidden off to sides or in bonus zones. The first thing of note is the first Cortex token by the first checkpoint. There's nothing really hidden up to that point. Just after the checkpoint is our first Torna token, which brings our crate count up to 14. Just after a big set of spinning platforms is our blue gem path, and hopping on it gets us our achievement. Don't forget about the cheeky box hidden right at the start on top of that metal box. This little side area has enough Aku Aku masks to help us blast through dozens of crates whilst jumping across little gem platforms, and it feels really good to do it fast. Scary, but good. By the end of this section we should be at 49 crates broken, and by our next checkpoint, just past some smashers, we should be at 52. Now this is where things get a little trickier. A little ways past the checkpoint, there's a snake and 5 boxes behind it. Whatever you do, do not spin the snake into the crates as it will detonate the TNT and destroy the second Cortex token. You want to jump on the snake and then jump on the crates to get your token. After this is a hidden bridge that leads to the final Cortex token and the bonus portal. These two challenges are all around timing yourself around exploding TNTs. For both of the parts, you'll want to hop on the leftmost TNT, wait until it hits about 1, and then make your jump to the nearby wooden crates to survive the explosion, and then the slight delay before the crate bridge appears. At the end, Cortex zooms away and we pick up our second and final key, and we should be at 85 crates smashed. Continuing to the right, we get our next Torna token here. And then the final one is just a bit further ahead next to the portal. There's not much in the way of a puzzle here. It's a race against the TNT explosion to get the best rewards, but it's only 2 lives, so it's no great shakes if you lose out on them. If you've broke every crate in the level up to now, you should get your gem when you return from the bonus, and the end of the level is just past some more smashers. Getting there gets us our achievement for picking up the key too. More on what that unlocks later. But first, the time trial, woohoo! Our time to beat for the gold relic is 1 minute 59 seconds .21, and luckily this isn't the hardest stage to blast through despite its length. The main thing you'll need to watch out for is timing yourself against the fires and the extending spears, as it can be quite punishing to lose a good run because you've tried to rush. A lot of the trickier platforming, like on the rotating pillar platforms, gets easier with confidence as you don't always have to wait for long to jump onto them if you're comfortable with jumping diagonally onto them. This is tricky to do because personally I find it really difficult to see where Crash's shadow is, and obviously if you're not over a platform you can't see anything, it's just a big pit. There aren't many hidden or out of the way time crates in the level either, and a lot of the shortcuts you can take are very minor, so unless you lose a lot of time to waiting for obstacles, the time they would save would only really help you get the platinum relic. In fact, similar to the other levels, a good 15 seconds of the time in the level is spent waiting on the circular platforms to transition you between parts of the level. The only time crate that might be worth going out your way for is this 3-second one at the very end of the level. The fire was timed in such a way for me that I couldn't have jumped straight over and I would have got burned, so it wasn't worth getting, I didn't think. If, however, the fire had stopped when I'd got down there, I wouldn't have went for it, so something to keep in mind there. All in all, we end up going about 10 seconds under our requirement. Not many relics left now. We're going to take a quick break from the critical path now and go and do the level we unlocked with the key, Fumbling in the Dark. This is a harder version of Lights Out and is actually pretty tricky. We can also get the gem, so let me go through some of the spicier crates, starting with the 7 hidden behind the start. This is the second time that the game has pulled this trick, so if you got to the end of the level with 11 crates wondering where the hell the rest of them could be, this is probably the answer. With those broken, we jump our way along to the first checkpoint where we should have broken 13 crates, 14 if we count the Aku Aku crate straight afterwards. There's a couple of Aku Aku crates between here and the final checkpoint, which after we break leaves us with 1 crate left. This is probably the hardest stretch of the level for doing fast, but after getting through, we grab gem number 15. The time trial for this stage is understandably one of the harder ones, as getting through the level without dying is quite a challenge. The time to beat is 1 minute 57 seconds .68, which is luckily quite generous, as the main challenge here is just not to die. Again, I've decided to speed the footage up a little for this section because I haven't got much in the way of advice. There's a couple of small time saving tricks you can do by jumping to the ledges on the side to wait for less time, or to not hold the jump button when you're bouncing on the spiders, but most of the time you'll save is by not stopping and jumping around the swinging axes as best you can. We absolutely smashed this stage on our successful attempt, getting a whopping 7 seconds under the platinum time requirement, so I'm happy to say that my path through the level couldn't have been much better. Castle Machinery is up next, which has this fun little skip if you've obtained the green gem by now, but sadly we've got stuff to do for our 100% run, so that's not good enough for us. We can get the gem here, so we'll start with a quick rundown of some of the crates here. With it being a side scroller, there's not much in the way of secrets, and there's also no bonus stage here. By the first checkpoint you should have 3 crates broken. By checkpoint 2 you should have 6 crates broken. By checkpoint 3 you should have 13 broken. Which leaves us with the final stretch. There's this fun little setup to deal with where, similar to the bonus stage a little while back, we have to break the bridge on top before breaking the boxes underneath, like so. After that we should only have 1 crate left, which is just here, before the vents, and then after a pair of slow moving platforms, we collect our gem and peace out. For the time trial, we need to beat the level in under 2 minutes, 37 seconds, .61, which is pretty doable, but we will have to be fast. There's loads of small ways to save time in this level, like weaving through the 2 sources at the beginning and jumping off the moving platforms as soon as possible to shave off multiple fractions of seconds, much like the other level that looked a lot like this, that I am forgetting the name of because this bit isn't scripted, this is ad-libbed. Wow, wonderful. Am I going to keep this in? Who knows? You do get a couple of Aku Aku masks in the level, so luckily you don't have to play perfectly, and in fact in the first section with the vents, I would recommend tanking a hit to run straight through rather than waiting for the timing to line up. A small time saving thing that I did manage to do on my successful run but did figure out on other runs is bouncing off what used to be the checkpoint crate after the long drop to keep your momentum and bounce straight to the enemy and over the hot pipes, as well as bouncing straight through the 3 time crates to make the most of the time stop they give you. I must have been too far back, or I must have slipped off the crates, which is kind of annoying, but it wasn't enough to ruin the run, luckily. Personally, I also deliberately missed out on the 3-second crate, as although it does save you a bit of time overall, I knew I would make the goal time at this point unless I died, so I powered on through as it seemed like too much hassle. I'm assuming if you're going for the Platinum Relic, you do have to get this crate because 3 seconds of time stop is, like I said, quite significant. After the slow moving platform section, we once again reach the end with around 19 seconds to spare. Very nice. After collecting around a dozen of his face tokens, we now finally have our confrontation with Brio, whose defeat unlocks the achievement Nitrous Broken. Brio is a pretty fun boss actually, who goes through 3 different attack phases. He throws green vials that turn into slime enemies that we can jump on to damage him, don't ask. It's worth noting that these slimes stop hopping around after 3 hops as well. He also throws purple vials that explode upon touching the ground. His pattern goes 1 green for 1 damage, 1 purple we have to avoid, 2 green for 2 more damage, then 3 purple vials, 3 green for 3 damage, and then 6 purple vials. Then he enters phase 2, where he turns into a huge Hulk-like creature who smashes the floor in front of him. His smashing causes bricks to fall from the ceiling that we can use for extra height to jump on his head 3 times. He moves deceptively slow in this phase, so wait until he's really uncomfortably close before you jump on him, otherwise you'll get hit. You can use the video to judge what distance you should jump at. After 3 last bonks on the head, he crashes out of the window and we get a nice 50 gamer score. 1 main level to go now, the Lab, which is also home to our 5th coloured gem. This level is all about timing and is one of the biggest challenges in the game. Let's start with our gem run. Torna Token 1 is in the first crate of the level, and Torna Token 2 is right after. Be careful not to spin this clump of boxes as there's a TNT hidden in there. Just after this door is our last Torna token and the bonus portal, getting it out of the way really quick. Being the last bonus in the game, this one is pretty tricky despite being nice and short, as we need to weave around this bounce crate to hit an off-screen crate. Also for the multi-wumpers, remember they break after the 5th bounce. Grabbing every crate here takes us up to 25 total crates broken. This enemy can be really annoying to deal with, but you just keep spinning into him when he's not electrified to knock him off. After hitting the first checkpoint, we should be at 26 crates broken. For this TNT clump, I'd recommend bouncing on one of them and then jumping back to the ledge by the disappearing floor, like this. If you don't see them at all, it's probably because you've spun an enemy into them and they've already detonated. After some really tricky platforming, we come to the last 3 crates in the level, a TNT bridge. You want to bounce on one of them and then land, and then just jump across the gap and wait till they explode to grab the gem. Don't leave the level without doing that. With this gem, we can get the last colour gem in Lights Out, but more on that later. Firstly, we need to get the relic here, which is easily the hardest gold relic in the main game by a country mile. As it is the last one, we'll be grabbing the achievement Practice Makes Perfect for getting gold or higher in every level in the main game. The time requirement is stupidly tight at 56.22 seconds, and requires some insane precision to get. I had to learn a lot through failure here, so let's start. Firstly, I would hesitate for just a second at the start before grabbing the clock to let the obstacles fall into a nice timing for you. You don't want to miss a single time crate in this level if you can help it, as every second counts. You also want to jump around all the slime enemies to save time. For this clump of time crates, I would break the top one, bounce on the TNT underneath, and then continue straight on. For the electric guys, again, you can't waste time knocking them off properly. You need to spin them once to stun them, and then use that opportunity to jump and weave around them. This will make the difference between getting the Sapphire Relic and the Gold one, as I learned the hard way. Something else that will save a huge chunk of time is spinning this bottle thrower enemy straight forward, which will cause him to explode the TNT clump around the metal box that raises at the door, allowing you to sprint straight through this next section. After another electric dude, we have some more tight timing, including the room with nothing but a disappearing floor, which is easily the hardest thing to time in the level, so watch how I do it to help you get your timing down. After getting through that, we have the TNT bridge again, which we have to deal with the same way that we did in the gem run, and that's it! The last gold relic in the game, which we got by about 5 seconds. Apparently I can save another 7 seconds somewhere in this level for the platinum relic, but I'd rather not think about how that's possible. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments. We quickly blast through the Great Hall, more on this level once we get every gem, and we move on to our final boss fight against Neo Cortex. Beating him will get us the achievement Cortex Incapacitated, and 50 gamer score. These achievement names are real groaners, it has to be said. Cortex is actually a pretty hard fight for the game, and is a whole load of memorization. He shoots several types of orbs at us, purple ones towards your location when he fired, and then green ones at fixed locations that we can spin back at him for damage. After one hit, he starts to shoot blue orbs off screen that go back along the screen horizontally, and the green orbs start to build into a big orb to damage him instead. After 2 hits, the blue orbs start to move in a sine wave type pattern instead, and he needs even more green orbs spun back to be damaged. It's also worth noting that if you do miss a green orb, he will start doing the pattern from one phase before, instead of just repeating the new pattern. Whether this is a good thing or not, I think depends on the person. For his 4th hit, he starts doing rapid purple shots that end in a green shot to either the left or the right of the screen. And his 5th hit is a bit of a fake out, as all he does is fire one green shot at you. Quite funny. After spinning the single shot back at him, he's done and we get our achievement. Congrats! Crash 1 is beaten. Cortex is defeated and we've saved Torna. But we still have 9 gems to get, so let's begin our backtracking at the end and make our way back to the start. The Koala Gem in Lights Out is probably the second easiest in the game after Toxic Waste, and the only thing that makes it harder is the fact that you still have to rush through the level due to the Aku Aku gimmick. The boxes are all along the main path, so very quickly, by checkpoint 1, we should have broken 3 crates. By checkpoint 2 we should have broken 9, 10 if you count the Aku mask next to it, and then it's a straight shot to the gem with only 2 more along the way that we smash with a rat. The yellow gem platform takes us to the top of the tower where the last 3 boxes are, as well as our last coloured gem and a second exit portal. With that we have every coloured gem, so we can now 100% every level in the game. Continuing back towards the start, our next level is Cortex Power, which, if you remember, I said is a little bit of a nightmare to get the gem, as it's a stage with several branching paths and the developers weren't nice enough to only put crates down one path. At the first split, we're going to be taking the left path first, past the gangster, to grab this lone Aku mask down one of the gem paths. We then backtrack all the way to the split and take the right path. After the first checkpoint, there's another split and we're going to take the right path first this time to blow up some TNT crates and hit a metal exclamation box for something later. We then go back to the split and head left. I would grab the boxes on both sides of the pipe before hitting the checkpoint at the next split path, just so if you die, you don't forget them. Continuing on, at the next split you can see a blue gem going back and forth. This is the annoying part of the level. We want to ride that gem back towards the camera for some crates. Continue going back until you reach a crate bridge, hit one of the darker crates, which are TNT crates, for the whole bridge to explode, which should take us up to 28 total crates broken. Then we can go back to the blue gem and continue up from the split. The remaining crates are all along the main path, including another crate bridge that the exclamation box made appear. After these, and the 4 crates around the end, we can grab our clear gem and clear off. Island 3 complete. Boulder Dash is our next stop, and a brief one at that. Compared to some of the levels we've been 100%ing, this one is a breeze. So, real quick, at the first checkpoint we should have broken 10 crates, including all the ones around it. At checkpoint 2 we should reach 17 broken, including all the ones around it. Which leads us nicely to the purple gem path at the end, which takes us to a cool looking underground path with a load of free lives and all the remaining crates. Our 4th stop in our gem cleanup takes us back to Road to Nowhere, Joy. Again, this is a super linear level, so real quick, Torna 1 by the first checkpoint, Torna 2 is just after the second checkpoint, and our first red gem path is by the third checkpoint. This is a little puzzle area that might take new players a little while to figure out. First, you go all the way right and pop this TNT crate, which causes a crate to appear to the left. Bounce and spin on this to hit this exclamation box, that causes another crate to appear to your right. Bounce off this and jump on the box in the middle of this little metal box shaped thing to hit a hidden exclamation box that makes a whole load of crates appear in the back, as well as one last TNT crate you're supposed to use to get the TNT under the leftmost box. All of this should take us up to 26 crates broken. Continuing past the 4th checkpoint and the icy planks gets us to Torna Token 3 and the bonus. This simple stage is all about using bouncing boxes to get to the end of the level. Overall it shouldn't be too much trouble for you at this stage in the game. Getting everything here should take us to 40 boxes broken, leaving 2 more at the end of the gem path at the end of the level. Do be careful here, as it's very easy to overshoot your jump and land and get sucked into the end portal instead, which would be really annoying. After here, it's more fun with invisible bridges. Just follow the Wumpa Fruit guides and do your longest jumps possible, and you should make it and grab some extra lives and your gem, as well as super clearing Island 2. Native Fortress is our next destination, where again we need the red gem to get all of the crates here. Torna Token 1 is right at the start. By the first checkpoint we should have 6 crates broken, and Torna 2 is right next to it. Checkpoint 2 should be our 8th crate broken. Checkpoint 3's stack should take us up to 12. And Torna 3 and the bonus portal should be all the way to the right. This is a super simple bonus and is almost a tutorial for breaking boxes over gaps. Getting everything here takes us up to 23 total crates. Continuing up, we hit our 4th checkpoint and then continue forward. A little ways past the 5th checkpoint is our red gem path that takes us all the way up to the clouds for a neat Mario-esque platforming segment. Breaking everything here takes us up to 39 crates broken. Continuing left to the end gets us our final smattering of crates and gets us a well-deserved clear gem. Only 4 more to go. Rolling Stones is where we'll be heading next for a fun romp through the jungle. Torna Token 1 is just past the first roller, and Brio Token 1 is in a crate hidden off screen under this bounce crate. By the first checkpoint we should already be at 19 crates broken. Our next Brio token is a bit of a tricky one. It's in the top left box of this pile of TNT. Just make sure to grab it before everything explodes. At checkpoint 2 we should be at 32 crates broken. Torna 2 is just a little ways past here. And Torna 3 is just past the double rollers. This bonus has a couple of crate bridges to break and not much else, and breaking everything here should take us all the way up to 59 crates broken. The blue gem path is just past here, which takes us down to a hidden cave with some free lives. Then just past here is Brio 3 and the portal. This is a mini speedrunning segment against TNT crates in a couple of different setups, as well as a crate bridge at the end. Breaking everything here brings us all the way up to 83, with the final 4 crates being right at the end portal. I love doing these gem clear-ups at the end of my run in Crash 1 because I always feel like it's a cool way to cap off the game, blasting through all these early levels. Our next level in Island 1 is Upstream, which has a cool twist on the gem path idea towards the end. Torna Token 2 is just past the checkpoint. Just before the second checkpoint is our first little gem side path with a hidden crate under the log. Jumping back on the log gets us to checkpoint 2, which should be our 11th crate. Just past here is Torna Token 3 in the bonus stage. Again, getting simpler, we have a bonus stage with stacks of boxes over gaps, where we can either jump off each one for a fun self-imposed challenge, or just blast through them with your spin. It is still possible to fall through the gap, but you won't lock yourself out of progressing by breaking certain boxes before others. After this bonus you should be all the way up to 34 crates broken, only 2 left. Following through the level a little further gets us to the original end, but a gem path takes us past to a harder platforming segment with the river level enemies and gimmicks. Neat! Our last 2 crates are together here, and the new end portal and our gem are just a little further ahead. Our second last level is the Great Gate, which also has a harder gem path section past the end portal. There's not much out of the way up to our first Torna token here. Our first checkpoint should be our 12th broken crate. Torna Token 2 is just past the 3 spike poles. And Torna Token 3 is just a little further ahead next to the bonus portal. This bonus has a couple of neat setups that should be nothing you can't deal with by now, and once you get through, you should have 30 crates broken, leaving 8 more. The gem path carries us over the portal to a quite tricky section with one very well hidden crate. Once you reach the second bounce crate, use it to bounce up and behind the wall through this gap and go right. Eventually, you'll reach this totem and you'll stop. This is a crate you can smash, not a solid wall, so break it and make your way back left to break the wooden bounce crate you used, and then continue the level on the front path. Continue to break everything you see. God, I'm running out of breath. Help me! Also, don't ask how I managed to get 100 lives, as I'm confused as you are about it. Once you break the last crate in the level here, you should be able to get to the top of this tower, grab your gem, and leave. One more gem to go! Our final stop is Jungle Rollers, which at this point should be a breeze, but to make sure you don't miss anything, let's go through. We'll also be getting the achievement The Ultimate Gem Path for getting all 26 gems. Our first Torna token is between a roller and a plant here. Our gem path is by our first checkpoint and leads us to some extra lives. After breaking all of these, including the wall of boxes in front, you should have 26 boxes broken. Torna 2 is just a little further ahead between 2 rollers, and Token 3 is next to the portal. This bonus is, being the first one in the game, obviously the easiest, and it's like an introduction to the concept. You should be at 41 crates broken by the end of it. Our last 2 crates are just past here before this double roller and continuing past here gets us to the end and gives us our final gem and our achievement. Just to show it off and get the extra save file percent, getting every gem unlocks this gem path in the Great Hall. One gem platform for every gem that we've collected. Following it through gets us to our secret 100% ending where we fly away with Torna on an eagle, which is a cute cutscene. With that, we have everything in the main game, all achievements, all gems, all relics. But we still have 2 more achievements left for 1000 gamer score, and both of these are in the DLC level Stormy Ascent, the hardest level in the game by a country mile. Stormy Ascent was originally a level that you needed to use a Game Shark code to play on the PS1, but for the remake it's been restored to what it could have been and polished up-ish. Our first achievement will be the Crown Jewel for 35 gamer score, and we get this by getting the gem in the level, not just by clearing it. As this level is the same tile set as Slippery Climb, it uses a lot of the same tricks for hiding boxes, and most of the 56 are tucked away inside the little inlets, like you can see here, and aren't too bad to get. As a quick rundown, your first Brio token is here. At the first checkpoint you should have 9 crates total. Brio token 2 is by this thrower enemy. At checkpoint 2 you should have 15 total crates broken. Brio token 3, as always, is in the inlet next to the portal. It shouldn't be a surprise, but this is by far the hardest bonus level in the game, and maybe the whole series, honestly. It requires us to do some really tightly timed jumps from TNT crates that will set off an exclamation box. Then this section at the end asks us to jump on top of some bouncing boxes to do a tricky little platforming section on a TNT bridge, like at the end of the lab. Be careful spinning these boxes here, as there is some off-screen TNTs that will ruin your day. After beating this bonus, we should be at 44 total boxes busted, and we're a little over halfway into the level. This next section is where things get really mean, and I'll go into more detail when I go through the Relic challenge, but like, just look at this. I mean, god damn. Anyway, at the top of this hell we get our next checkpoint, which should leave us with 6 more crates to grab. After a crazy stint of fast platforms and sliding birds, we get our last clump of crates, grab our gem, and get our achievement. Now, it's time to do that without dying! Yay! Our final 2 achievements are what we'll be grabbing by doing this, and that's an Ancient Antiquity for getting a gold or better relic, and the Intrepid Crash Bandicoot for getting every other achievement in the game for a combined total of 170 gamer score. To start off, I wait for the steps to go down before I grab the clock, as we can't run straight there and we'll save a couple of seconds by not letting them cycle. There are a lot of small time-saving tricks I'll be trying to do early on in the level so that we have more leeway later, when the stress of dying is higher. And also, what we're asked to be doing is way more crazy. Another little trick is being able to do this weird jump on the very side of the moving platform here before it ascends, saving us a little more time. Sometimes you'll get hit, but not all the time. The time we're trying to beat here is 4 minutes 30, which is actually quite lenient if you can believe it. Chances are you'll run this level so many times that you'll actually get really efficient with the early parts, saving lots of little bits of time. You also want to grab this time crate on the middle platform, as we can't rush straight into the next moving platform without waiting, so going out of our way for this actually ends up saving us time. A lot of the obstacles in this level are moving so fast that we have to jump before they are anywhere near us or still in a hazardous state, but it's something that you can either pick up from the video or eventually learn through trial and error. The next section of note is this weird double platform that if you're here at about 117 you can just jump straight onto, but I got here too late, so I had to do what I ended up naming in the 3.5 delirious hours that I spent on this, the Phil Collins, because you have to think twice As in, the platform needs to reset itself twice before it's super safe to jump on again. Terrible joke, I know, apologies. It is just about possible to make this jump as soon as you get there, but the timing is so tight and unreliable, it's not worth having to repeat the last minute and a half of a level if you mess it up. The next tricky section is just past the old second checkpoint, which marks us at about the halfway point of the level. If you're feeling very spicy, you can actually fall down under the moving platform closest to the thrower enemy. We'll be going for the safe-ish and slow-ish way instead. Basically, you want to time yourself to slide down a little bit of the ramp, but to end up on the second last or last step when they reappear to jump over the spike at the end. The last two ramps are really tricky to time as they move so fast, so this is a good place to sacrifice a hit if you have some extras. After doing some small hops on some eagles to save time and weaving through a circle platform, we are at maybe the hardest section in the level? The fast platform zone. That's what I'm calling it, yep. You need to preempt jumping on these platforms by starting your jump just before they come out and jumping straight off. The closer you are to the back wall, the better, as you get just a fraction of a second extra to jump. Be extra careful of this moving platform, as the very top of it has this weird quirk of sending you sliding back even when the steps are up. This next section is absolutely brutal. The most reliable and safest way I found to get through was to wait on the fourth platform for a cycle and then continue on to the end, as you can see. After that little slice of hell, we get a nice little 10-second breather before the final quarter. A lot of this section isn't too awful if you practice it, but after the 3 minutes of grueling platforming, panic will be your worst enemy here. It might be worth practicing this section over and over in the regular level from the last checkpoint to make yourself more familiar with it, as there are some trickier parts towards the end. Starting with this little sideways eagle, again, since they move so fast, you need to start your jump when it's almost about to change direction. The fast platforms after can be dealt with by starting your jump just after the first platform goes back in and not stopping until you're across, like so. This leads us nicely to the last obstacle, the 3 sideways eagles. Start your jump as the first eagle is furthest right and follow it with the arc of your jump until it's all the way left. Hold jump in and aim for the second eagle at about the middle of its cycle. Another big jump and aim for the third one when it's furthest right, and then you'll just barely make it. Easy, right? Look at that, easy. Like I said, this took me around 3.5 hours total over 2 sessions. It's easily one of the hardest things the Trilogy will ask of you. But our time gets us comfortably under target, about 34 seconds away from the Platinum Relic. With that, we've finally got every achievement and all 1000 gamer score from the first game in the Trilogy. Despite some tricky relics, Crash 1 isn't too bad of a game to 100%, and some of the levels really have benefited from the nice lighting, but sadly the issues of the lack of precise controls and hitboxes and minor problems like the more realistic shadow making it sometimes really hard to see where you're going to land prevent this game from sticking with me like the PS1 version did. Overall, I have had a blast replaying this classic, and I'm anxiously anticipating taking on the next game in the Trilogy, as I'm sure it's going to be pushing me harder than anything else I've done so far. But that, my friends, is a video for another day. Thank you very much for watching, and hey, why not check out my videos on the Spyro Reignited trilogy while you're here, and I hope to see you all when we take on Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back.